For those of you who are trying to navigate the world of self-help, self-empowerment, healing, well-being, and thriving, it can be a complicated journey when you first start, and you're not sure where you want to go, but you know you want to be enjoying life more than you currently are. And you want to find joy, love, and happiness in your days with ease. This seems like something simple and tangible. We all quickly discover that it's a life journey, really. And it's a journey of discovery with new awarenesses and opportunities. We also discover it can be very challenging. It can also be exhausting and confusing. How can we go from wanting something so simple as joy and love and then find challenge in just the simplest of actions and thoughts? Today's guest is joining us to share this emotional roller coaster that can blossom out of our desire to be well and to heal. Chelon Lockert refers to herself as an emotional energy alchemist, self-love queen passionista, and a solo mom. She has 22 years experience of empowering women as a stylist behind the chair. And through her own journey to discovering her inner light, she's led to inspire women and help them release their limiting beliefs so that they too can embody their divine queen within. So then they have the confidence to show up courageously and as their authentic selves. Chelon accomplishes this with an objective by providing one-to-one coaching and her signature Self-Love Queen Academy group program. Her goal is to support her clients through the emotional roller coaster of lived experiences that create repeating cycles of discovery. The results of her work are thriving life cycles, patterns that empower women to grow and discover more about themselves and their potential. You're listening to Be Well with Michelle Greenwell. This is Season 2, Episode 15, Finding Your Inner Light with Chelon Lockert. Welcome, Chelon. It's so great to have you today.
Well, thank you, Michelle. I'm so happy to be here and sharing this experience with you.
And I love your virtual background. So I know for those on the podcast, they're not going to see it. But do you want to describe it for people that can't see?
It says Self-Love Queen Passionista on the back of it. And it actually is kind of like a throne with like a crown on the corner. So
it's awesome. I love it. So usually to get our conversation started, we start with some kind of cup of inspiration. What have you got in your cup today?
I have peppermint green tea actually in my Self-Love Queen Passionista mug. So I enjoy having that.
Do you want to hold the mug up?
I can, for sure.
Then they can see.
Yeah, this is my design that I have.
It's so beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh, that's lovely. I have today my awesome tea. This comes from the Tea with Intention series. And my daughter brought a whole bunch of cups this weekend that are clear and see-through. And I've been navigating to the mugs that are pottery, feel good in your hand, that kind of thing, holding the earth. And then I started putting the tea into a clear cup, and it's like, it's so beautiful, the color. So I thought, well, I'll do that today. So you can see kind of the golden elixir that I have with the awesome tea blend. So cheers to you, Chelon. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today.
Those are beautiful.
We'll see where we're heading. Oh, okay. So let's start with your background in supporting women through your career as a hairdresser. This is a really important role that people don't, I think, realize, because the hairdresser hears once a month what's going on in lives. And sometimes there's lots of things come out of a mouth because it's a nice, safe place to be. You want to share a little bit about what you've noticed about the women you serve?
With being a hairstylist, like since I was like little, I wanted to be a hairstylist just because of the whole atmosphere and the environment of the hair salon, right? And I found that like women are very comfortable with their hairstylists to share with them. And I think it's because you're in like close proximity with one another and you're like, touching them, and you can actually like you do make them feel better on the outside, but they're so much deeper than that because these women just, you're with them and help them through more things in their lives than you could even imagine. Like the good times, the bad times, all the times. You know, I have so many women that show up at my house and they just like, they walk in my door because I have a home-based salon. They walk in my door and it's like, sometimes it's just like a sigh of relief, like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I'm here. Like they've said, you know, and when it comes down to all of it, like the reason people come to the hair salon is because they want to look better on the outside, but in the grand scheme of things, what they want is really to feel better on the inside. And it really just goes hand in hand, because I know personally, like when I am, you know, I love doing my hair and makeup because I feel better when that's done, right? And it's just so amazing to be able to make women feel that way every day, to like when they leave, that they just feel like, you know, $1 million. And so I just love that experience, and even being able to, you know, share insight with them in regards to things that are going on in their lives and helping inspire them that way. So
Yeah, it's funny, right? Because it's just one of those things we do every month, but we don't really think about it so much.
no,
And some people will go from salon to salon, so they never kind of get that full relationship in. But when you do find someone that you stick with for many, many years, it's they're like one of the family. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
yeah, beautiful. So one of the reasons that you shifted from being the hairdresser, I don't want to say just the hairdresser because it does have such an incredible role, but into doing more for women, is that you started to notice your own emotional cycles that were happening, and you wanted to identify and play with those a little bit. So do you want to talk about your area of discovery, how you came to the tools that you've come to, but also that journey that you've been on?
My journey started like long time ago when I was like a young girl, and you know, I had very low self-esteem and self-confidence because I had been bullied so much and through my school years. And so through that journey in itself, you know, I was always thinking that I wanted to be like in, I don't know, growing up, it was always like finding the one, finding, you know, for a relationship and stuff. And really, what I was looking for was inside of me all along. And so through the journey of like healing from the low self-esteem and self-confidence and everything, I stumbled across SRT clearing, and I was working with a coach with that, just clearing the, you know, limiting beliefs about that I had in regards to myself from experiences that I had and situation or yeah, that happened, and the negative self-talk and all of that kind of stuff. And because when you're told the same thing all the time, you believe it, right? Whether it's true or not, you take that on as your own belief, right? From other people, from your parents, from your teachers, from your friends, and all of that. And so working through that with my coach, she actually suggested to me, because I do work in close proximity with women who were, you know, kind of the same as me. Like you tend to attract the same people as that you vibrate with, right? And so she suggested that I become like I incorporate it into my business as well. And just from like seeing results for myself, I felt like that it was something that I would be able to offer other women. And you know, just that whole feeling of like when you walk out of a hair salon, I wanted to be able to give that to women all the time. And I never wanted women to have that low self-confidence or feel like, you know, they're not good enough or they're not valued, or, you know, they have to be and do all these other things in order to be able to be loved. And that's like, it's just so not true, right? So that's how I, you know, decided I wanted to help women like change their limiting beliefs that they had, so that they, you know, can just show up in their lives with more confidence and just to have their own inner peace, right? So
Oh, that's beautiful. And so are you doing that at the same time that you're doing hair? Or do you have like a kind of a package that you put together for them?
Well, right now, like it's kind of like just coaching and hair. It's not like, um, for I don't actually do clearing sessions with my salon clients, but we do talk a lot about like limiting beliefs and where did that come from and why are you feeling this way? And, and kind of like walk through that process with them as opposed to actually like doing the clearing. But most of my clearing clients are like via Zoom is how I usually operate that because it's like, it doesn't have to be done one-on-one, but there's a lot of like energy healing done in it as well from like my perspective to my clients, not just like the clearing aspect of it. We incorporate so many different things into your experience is basically what it is, because I just like pull in whatever we need to do in order to work through that at that time. And so there is like that energy transfer healing aspect that's happening as I'm like helping my clients work through the things behind the chair, as well as then my coaching clients that we, really dive deep into the SRT clearing with. So.
Oh, it's beautiful. One of the things, with emotions is how our body responds to them. So when you have someone sitting in that chair in front of you, do you notice in your own body, yeah, you're nodding your head. So those on the pod, yeah. What do you notice about people? Because I think it's really interesting, the awareness cues that we get, but we don't actually realize we're even getting cues. And so sometimes we think it's our own stuff, and it's like, oh, my shoulder or my neck is stiff. But you're every day in the next person in the chair, the next person in the chair, your body is changing based on the interactions you have. Do you want to just explore a little bit with us about what you can sense and what that can mean for people and for yourself?
It's actually quite amazing because like I really focus on keeping myself grounded so I don't take on everybody else's stuff, because I tend to do that sometimes, right? And I have been working on clients where all of a sudden it's like, you can just feel that like that anxious feeling in the pit of your stomach and you're like, this wasn't here before, like what's going on, right? And then you can kind of explore that with them if need be. And also like aches and pains, like definitely, like there's been times where I'm like, okay, I did not have a sore back like 2 minutes ago, so like where is this coming from? And I actually love with like the SRT clearing and stuff that I have a book that I use that I reference all the time, Heal Your Life, and it has like body aches and pains in it and what emotions and beliefs are linked to it. So when people come to me and they're like, oh, I have this problem and I have that problem and I have or this disease and whatever else, right? Then I actually go and reference my book I have worked with it so much that I usually can pinpoint what's going on. But yeah, sometimes I like to go reference my book and see and we just break it down from what body aches and pains and stuff. And then we actually go back into when did this start, because then we can also discover what was going on in your life at that time that not made you, but where this discomfort started showing up in your body, and we can clear that experience as well so that we can clear these aches and pains and everything that we store in our body. And so I actually love doing that as well. Like pinpointing, it's like trying to find a needle in a haystack sometimes, and I actually quite enjoy that too. So,
yeah. And the book you're referring to is Louise Hay's book. Is that right? Yeah. Heal Your Life. Yeah. Okay. So for those people listening, that's one of the books too that I ended up near the beginning. My mother-in-law actually had it on her bookshelf and she passed it to me. And I started diving deeper into work. And she said, I think this might be more valuable to you. And as you were saying, the corners are turned up in that book for all kinds of things.
Mine has seen better days.
You become very proficient.
Keeping it together.
And it's so interesting too on the initial journey that people start into of wanting to feel better, when they start to realize that the pain in their knee is just fear. And then you start to go, oh, it's fear. Oh, that changes things, instead of, I think I need a knee replacement, and it's, immediately you go into, there's a dysfunction in the tissue. But instead of thinking of a dysfunction as just really a cue, then all that you can do, that's just so lovely. And I know when, for me, with the clients that I work with or the students I work with, when I say, oh, that's great, after they've told me all their aches and pains, and they look at me, and I always have to apologize. I'm sorry. It just means it's so exciting. We have something to work on because your body's actually giving you signals and you're listening. So now we have the opportunity to make that change. And then they kind of look at me kind of funny. I was like, okay. But then once the pain is gone, then it's like, wow, okay, that's powerful. And
Yes, it is.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I love when I hear that people's, aches and pains are shifting and, they're finally subsiding or they're gone or whatever. Right. So I absolutely love hearing about results like that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So as you're diving into the tools and learning more about those pieces, how has that empowered you and changed the way you've been living your life since discovering those tools?
I live my life focusing on now, like more so like mind, body, soul all the time, right? If I do have an ache or pain, I'm like, what is going on? Where, like, first I always ask them, like, is this mine? Right? Because, like I said, I pick up on other people's stuff, right? So it's like, okay, what's going on? Is this mine? Right? And so I actually then, as opposed to being like, oh, I need to book a whatever appointment with so and so, like I come back to myself and figure out what is going on within me right now and where do we need to explore this so that I can like clear what's going on. So that's with my body, and like just my mind, I really focus on you know listening to positive things all the time, right? Thinking positive thoughts. Just it's amazing how just when we're the things that we listen to and we take in every day, like it really sets the vibration for our body going forward throughout the day even, right? And so just by tweaking things or looking at things from a different perspective, right, we're able to like shift that energy in order to move forward, right? And then yeah, so mind, body, soul. I focus on my soul. I love doing whatever calls to me. It's never the same. It changes day by day, depending. I do love to do a meditative practice every day and pull oracle cards for guidance and all that kind of stuff. So that's really, I've incorporated that into my life. And yeah, movement for sure. Definitely every day I like to do some sort of movement, whatever that may be. And throughout my years, like I have started listening to my body and what it needs more, as opposed to like, I have to do this workout every day. Like sometimes as women, our bodies flow and change all the time. And it really depends. It's like, are you well rested or whatever else? Like sometimes we don't need that intense workout, right? And even as our bodies change throughout our month, right? Like sometimes we're more tired than other times. And right. So it's about listening to what does my body need in this moment, and honoring that and nurturing yourself and giving yourself rest and rejuvenation whenever that is called. Because as a woman, we don't, like I said, we shift and change all the time. So it's really important to just feel into that. And that's why I like to do like, I have my mindful Mondays that I do every Monday in order for people to just like come back to themselves and check in with themselves. Cause so often we're just doing constantly. And then at the end of the day, we're like, oh my gosh, why am I so exhausted? Well, because you haven't done anything for yourself today, right? And so every day in the morning, like I make a point of focusing on mind, body, soul before I like tackle the rest of my day, and then even check in on myself through as the day goes on. And, if I have to take that 5-10 minute break in order to do whatever, if it is to have like a power nap or just to like, have a little dance session or something, like I definitely honor that. In the summer, more so, I love to spend as much time outside as possible. And just like, that is so healing for me to just like be in nature. And so that's how I really just like fuel my soul. So yeah.
I'm going to go back to what you said at the beginning when you started that, and then we'll
Sure.
kind of walk through, because you said some really powerful things all the way through there.
Awesome.
The first
Yeah.
one was that you always check in if it's yours, if the
Yes.
feelings that you have are yours. And for those people that are just starting on a journey, that's not even in their vocabulary yet.
No.
They're thinking all the ways that they feel yucky. Um, those ways are theirs. So do you want to explain a little bit? I know, when someone sits down in the chair and they start to talk to you, there's this wave that can kind of come towards you. And like you said, you ground yourself. So you just want to talk through that process a little bit, so new people listening will have an opportunity to kind of catch what that means.
The process of grounding myself.
Yeah, grounding
Uh,
and then
Yeah,
checking
and then
in.
just like not taking it. Yeah. Well, every morning I make a point of like just doing like a visual grounding where I just like, because I said like I love like with nature and everything, like we're so connected to the earth and Mother Gaia and all of that. And so really just like rooting myself down and then like protecting my energy so that I try not to take on my other like my clients' energy and stuff. But yeah, sometimes like I said, there it is just kind of like this wave that kind of hits you and you're like, where did, like it's sudden usually, and it's like, where did that come from? And most of the time when I know it's not mine is because it feels heavy in my body. Like it's not that lighter high vibe that I try and maintain. It's definitely like it just feels heavy, it feels icky, it doesn't, or it's like this ache and pain that all of a sudden you take on and you're like, where did that even come from? I didn't even do anything. Do you know what I mean? And so and you can easily actually just send it back with love, like return to sender, you can say, in order to not take in other people's stuff. Because even being on social media and whatever, it's very easy as we're like on our phones and whatnot to take on the energy of the things that we're looking at, right? Even so, that to me is, yeah, very important. You can either like, you can even just like, I don't know if this is getting into like woo stuff, but like protect yourself from like taking on anything from your phone and everything as well. So, yeah.
Exactly. I was thinking about, there's been many times too where I've said something or reacted in a way that it's like, why did I react that way? I wasn't even angry, but all of a sudden, oh, these words came flying out of my mouth. And then that's when I stop and go, okay, just a minute. I must have picked up something that isn't me.
Mm-hmm.
And exactly. And then I sometimes imagine myself as a bronze statue. So then anything that's not me is on the outside edge. And then I can just let it slide off,
Oh,
disappear.
love that.
And that helps me too, if just to visualize it. And
Mm-hmm.
so,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's the funniest thing, because after you've had that outburst and you're thinking all these judgmental negative thoughts, and then you clear, you do that and you check in, get yourself back to being 100% you, and it's gone.
Yeah.
Those judging thoughts they're finished. They're not there anymore. It's really amazing. So for those people that are listening that have not experienced this before, this might be a great way to start to really think about whether some of the challenges that are in your life are actually even yours, or you've
Mm-hmm.
adopted them to be yours, and then you're trying to solve them, but you're never going to solve that because they're not yours to begin with. So then there's effort that goes into that. So being able to
Mm-hmm.
let that go. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things I love, because like I work with limiting beliefs all the time, right? Is like the limiting beliefs we had are literally just projections onto us from other people, right? Like, and you can change that by clearing them and releasing them from your body and your subconscious, and really just creating more aligned positive thoughts for yourself. So,
and then I'm gonna bring us forward from that adopting other people's energy to another piece that you said, where you're using cards first thing in the morning, or affirmations, some way to kind of goal set or set your intention for the day. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that little piece?
it's I That kind of changes all the time too, because I don't necessarily use the same cards. Sometimes while I'm getting ready and stuff, I actually like to listen to like affirmations, videos and stuff. Uh, or even while I'm doing my stretching after my workout, it really kind of depends. Um, and some days, yeah, like I'll just like sit and I'll really like go into a really deep meditative state. I'll usually pull cards first and kind of during, depending which oracle deck that I'm working with. And just feeling into, what's coming up. I do like lots of visualizations. Yeah, just to like any messages that are needing to be received. And in the summertime, like I said, because I like to be outside in nature, I usually just like really ground down like on the grass, and I like to like lay out there on the lawn, and I have like a beautiful tree in my backyard that I like to go sit underneath. And so like even like little moments like that throughout your day, like it doesn't have to necessarily be I'm going to sit here and I'm going to meditate for 20 minutes. Like it's about tapping into what is calling you, and like even just doing like artwork or anything creative or baking or whatever it can be, like, when you're just in that flow state, right? And doing the things that make you feel good, But,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's a good point too, because some people it's doing the dishes.
yeah,
You
yeah.
you kind of get into doing the dishes and your mind just gets to kind of relax. It's kind of focused on what dish is in your hand, but at the same time you're able to just let things process and walk through. And baking too, that connection to the food. And we kind
Mm-hmm.
of lose track of that connection, because the instant food, which doesn't require you to fill it with love, it's just passed to you.
Right.
So
Yes. And I
yeah,
love that
taking the time.
you can actually just like set intentions with your food too, right? Like as you're making them and stuff, right? With you and with your teas, right? With your intention setting teas, you can definitely do that like with your food and everything. And I just love that so much.
Yeah. And then the value of that for someone who's listening that's never done that before, the value of setting up your day means that it's no longer about reacting to all the things that happen to you in the day, but it's about setting the way you would like the day to go. And so those things that are important are going to come to the surface for you rather than things that are just somebody else's priority, or like in your case, the client that comes through the door and whatever they're bringing with them. You could spend all day reacting, or
Mm-hmm.
you can set up your space so that as they come through the door, you're the influence. And
Yeah.
there can be an exchange, but you actually have the balance and the flow and the calmness that they're seeking. And that
Mm-hmm.
changes the interaction.
Because before I really started focusing more so on like giving to myself before giving to everybody else and making sure and tapping in with myself, is this mine? I took on so much stuff from my clients, and there would be times where like I'd have a client come and they had so much stuff going on in their life and they'd leave, and I'm like, I actually just need to have a nap now because like I was so exhausted from like exerting all this energy to them, right? And then they would leave and I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, you're like, it's just, yeah, so it is important to like tap in with yourself and really focus on filling yourself up. I always say like to like fill yourself up to overflowing, so that you're not playing that like I'm filling depleting game all the time, right? So that you're already giving from a place of flow, because sometimes when that happens, then that does lead to like burnout and like resentment and irritability and all of that kind of stuff, right? So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. And for those people maybe that are listening too, that are in other kinds of professions or positions where they do have the clients coming through the door all day, whatever kind of work they're doing, to really start to think about how they set up their day. And like you said, having that abundance of energy and flow and direction, because that also is what attracts clients back, because they know
Mm-hmm.
they feel good. It's not
Yeah.
like you come in, then you get kind of angry and grumpy and whatever, and then this discussion happens and then they go out the door not quite satisfied. It's no, you have this transformation possibility for them. And so when you set up your work day in that capacity, you really can be transforming people, but attracting them to you, because that's what they're
Mm-hmm.
really looking for.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, beautiful. Okay. So we've talked a little bit about why this work is important for you. Do you want to talk about what your vision is going forward, where you want to take this work?
Hmm. It's actually really funny. I've been thinking a lot lately on, the reason I really got into all this work is because I wanted to be a better person for my kids. You know, when you talk about like the way you set your day and stuff, I am a solo, like I've been a solo mom for a long time, for, I don't know, 12 years, I think it's been, or maybe it's been longer than that. I don't even know now, but and you know, just getting out of the house in the morning was intense. It was insane. It was like there was crying, there was like irritability, there was like all of that. And I was like, how fun is that to send your child to school like that on top of everything else and expect them to have a good day, right? And so it all stems down to my kids and how I just want to be a better person for them. And I want not just for like for myself as well, but like they're my driving force, right? And I always wanted them to be confident and true to themselves and to be able to really like trust in their own inner knowing as well, right? As opposed to taking on everybody else's like limiting beliefs and stuff. And so yeah, they're my driving force, and I've really been focusing lots lately on wanting to leave a legacy for my kids, you know, and so that's why I'm really working on like expanding my business, right? And I love doing group programs because I think it is an amazing thing for women to come together in community. Like I feel I had an experience this past summer where I met a bunch of strangers, strange women. I went to a retreat and I had no idea who any of these people were. And I left there and I felt so loved and welcomed and empowered. And it was just an overall amazing experience. And I just want to be able to give that to so many other women because as women, we can do anything when we have like a strong community behind us, right? And that is something that I really want to share with the world. And yeah, like I said, with like leaving a legacy and stuff, to leave something for my kids and my kids' kids and, you know, like my grandkids, and to be able to just like know that I made a difference in this world, I guess, too. And just to be able to, for them, even for them to look back and be like, you know, my mom, she moved mountains. That's, you know, and I would move them for them in a heartbeat. You know what I mean? And so that's why like it's so important to me to like be able to leave this for my kids and know that they can really just do whatever they want with their lives, and you know that I'm behind them 100%, and for to have these communities for women to feel the same. So
That's beautiful. It's an interesting thing to talk about as a legacy piece, but also too being that solid foundation. And I think, you know, as adults, we now know no one ever knows what they're doing. we thought our parents and our grandparents knew.
don't tell anybody.
But since there's no manual, but at the same time, when we set that up for our children, that we are that solid foundation, we are that support network, even if we don't have the answers, we still are able to be there and be resilient and demonstrate resiliency to them. And I too remember my days getting my son to the bus stop, and my daughter would be too little and to try to bundle up in the snow and, you know, chug down the street, you know, 3 blocks to get him to the bus stop. And oh my gosh, yes. And there was a lot of yelling and screaming, and I don't want to eat my breakfast, and you're going to eat, all those things that go on first thing in the morning. And that's about the time too that I also started looking for. There's got to be a better way than
right,
yelling at each other and door slamming and all those lovely things that happen. And yeah, that is the start of the journey, when you realize this, it doesn't need to be this way, and
no.
it certainly
And
can
I'm
be.
I'm grateful that I've done that because like I feel like I have a really good connection with my girls now, right? Like as opposed to like I made a million mistakes as a mother. I can definitely admit that. Because we're all learning and growing through this journey that we call life, and nobody is perfect. And I had this like high expectation of myself that everything had to be perfect, and I had to be like this like this stay-at-home mom on top of running a business, on top of like being this Pinterest savvy person who had to make all these things for her kids and everything. And as soon as I like released the need to have to do that, it was like so flowing and freeing. And as soon as I was able to start showing up for myself, then I was able to better show up for my children, right? And because in the grand scheme of things, I'm like, why am I doing all of this? Like, I don't want my kids to, you know, be adults and be like, oh my God, my mom, she was a lunatic. She would like, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to see her. Whereas like I have this amazing connection with my kids now, and they, know that they can come to me. They know that they can tell me whatever. Sometimes I don't want to hear it, but that's okay. I would prefer that they tell me. And so the fact that I made that choice, like I'm just so grateful for it every day. So yeah.
Oh, it's been a lovely conversation today, and it's nice to get down to the real things about living every day and
Yes.
what really matters. And I'm hoping that you've been able to really open up for people the idea that they can make a change. It's a simple one, and
Yeah.
that they can set themselves up for the success that they're looking for. So do you want to share a little bit about how they can find you, what you've got happening, that if they want to know more, they can reach out?
Well, I have my website, and that is I hope this inspires you.ca, and I have Facebook. I'm an Chelon Lockert is my private one, and then I have my emotional energy alchemist one, as well as Chelon _self-love queen on Instagram. And I also have a Facebook group where Queens Unite, where I do like oracle card pulls, and I do like live clearings every Friday, and it's just a really supportive interactive group to help support you in the navigating the flows of the energy basically as it comes and goes, and knowing that you're not alone, and that the feelings that you're feeling are completely valid at this moment in time, and how to navigate with that. And I have Self Love Queen Academy on the go right now. So I'm super excited about that. We're, working through setting healthy boundaries and showing up more confidently in our lives, clearing the limiting beliefs behind that. And like I said, it's just amazing to do these group things because you don't feel alone on your journey. You're just like, yes, there are other people out there that actually do feel the same way as I feel and have had similar experiences. And like it's just to know that you're not alone and have that like safe environment is very important for me to provide for women in general. And so then like I have my one-on-one coaching sessions that are going on, and I'm starting a mastermind for female entrepreneurs, because I know as a solopreneur, like they like to say it, it's nice to have that accountability factor. And in that mastermind, we're going to be also clearing like limiting beliefs and blocks and everything that are going to be keeping you from, moving forward in your business and stuff. And I just love I love helping women in business. I love creating businesses. I love doing all of that stuff. And so I've been in business for 22 years.
And congratulations.
Thank you. I want to help other women to be successful as well and to flourish and thrive, because I like to release that, the sister wounds of the needing to be competitive, and, really tap into the abundance of there is more than enough for all of us. And that when we support one another, that we can help empower one another and really grow and flourish that way. So yeah, I'm excited for all of that to come.
Yeah, absolutely. And really getting people thinking in simple steps. because even as you're outlining the different pieces, it's very simple steps. So just walking those steps through, and those transitions can be so huge. You know, it seems simple, but they can be so huge, particularly if they're the ones that have been really gripping and holding on tight. Then once that is gone, then it's like, wow, what is possible with just that layer removed? And then that ability to, you know, move to next layers. But some of those big ones coming off the top can just open the world up in such a incredible way.
Well, and it's all about, like, sometimes, like you said, like, I love that it's just one small change. Like, even in your mornings and the way you want to set your day, like, look at your routine when you wake up every morning, right? Like, what are you doing? How are you going about the morning? Like, even just one small little change creates that ripple effect, right? And just to stay consistent, right? I always say to, like, the people I'm working with, my clients and stuff, it was like, it's one small step. Like, we get so overwhelmed by, like, our to-do list that is never ending. We continuously add stuff to it, right? So it's like, even if you just take one small step a day, like, at the end of 1 year, you've taken 365 steps towards whatever your goal was or whatever, right? And also, just, you know, sometimes when you take that first small step, that gets the ball moving, right? And then you're taking, you know, 2 or 3 more steps that day, right? And so it's just about doing that initial one step and focusing on why are you even having the resistance towards doing it, and as well, is a big thing. So
Oh, beautiful. Okay, to finish off today, you talked about a few things that you like to do that's movement based. Do you want to share something that you can invite everybody who's listening today to think about doing today or adding into their week?
Honestly, my favorite thing to do is dance. I love to put on my favorite song, and my favorite song actually changes frequently too. It depends on my mood and my energy and stuff, but, like, I'll listen to it, like, maybe for a week or 2 weeks, and then, you know, I'll find another song that I really love. But I just love to be able to just, like, let myself flow with the energy of the music, and it's so freeing to literally just, like, dance like nobody's watching. So
Yeah, that's a great quote to finish with. And I'm going to add to that, for those people who want to do a little bit of an energy boost, I have the Meridian Sweep, which you can find on my YouTube channel at Michelle Greenwell. And it's in the dance integration playlist. It's called the Bioenergetic Wellness Dance Warm-Up. So I said a whole bunch of words. So one on my YouTube channel in a playlist about dance, and it's the dance warm-up. And you don't have to do the whole dance warm-up, but there's a meridian sweep, which you trace lines above the body that bring flow to all the systems. And what I did for my dancers is put it into a dance flow. So it wasn't just trace the lines, but you could put a piece of music on, trace the lines, and then you have all the systems are all engaged with each other. And so I'll recommend that one today. And just for people to have a little example of that, we could do it together. If you just take your hands and put them down in front of the body, so they're going to be at the bottom of the body, you're just going to trace up to your chin, and then just open your hands out as if you were opening to an audience, and then go down and we'll sweep again. So we've got from the bottom up to the top. And this is central system. And this helps us with what we see, what we know, what we think about, and just bring the core together. So that's an example of what could be there. Thanks for doing that with me.
Of course, I love that. I want to go and check out your video. I want to do it.
It is fun. And when I did it for the dance version, we finish with kind of like a bow and arrow, but I always put on the end of that for the dancers, I can do this. And so that was just our chant, you know, or I've got this. And then it got louder and louder as they got more comfortable with it, because they were like, I got this. And then it's like, yep, let's carry on with our day. We can do anything now. So beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing the time and reaching out to the audience in the way that you have. You have such a beautiful program ready to go. And I wish you the greatest success as you bring more to the people that you serve.
You as well. Thank you. I so appreciated being here. This was an amazing experience, and I just loved interacting with you in general.
Uh, all right, so we'll bring a close to this. You've been listening to Be Well with Michelle Greenwell, and this episode has been sponsored by the Cape Breton Tea Company, where we invite in the sights and sounds of Cape Breton to shine through our specialty blends. And today we highlighted Awesome, and Awesome comes from our Tea with Intention series, which does have the opportunity for you to take some affirmations off the back of the package and apply them to your day. So you can actually sip tea and make changes on what you're thinking about. It's also brought to you by Dance Debut Inc., providing movement programs to create a flourishing lifestyle while achieving your goals and ambitions and enjoying the activities that may be on your bucket list. And in the words of Charles Schulz from the Peanuts cartoon, I'd like to say, to dance is to live and to live is to dance. So we have many ways that we can flourish and savor our days when we remember to dance through it, even if it's in the rain. Thanks so much for listening.